We have a lot of bad news coming out of Israel. Palestine Today, CNN reports here. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has decided to allow the expansion of a West Bank settlement in the wake of the stabbing death of a 13-year-old Israeli-American girl, an Israeli official told CNN Sunday. Halal Yafa Ariel was sleeping when a Palestinian teenager entered her house in Kiryat Arba, a settlement near Hebron, and killed her Thursday. He was shot to death in the home by settlement security guards. Quote, it was decided yesterday to allow the building of 42 units in Kiryat Arba in the neighborhood close to the house in which the attacks took place, an Israeli official said. The Israeli government also sent 2 additional battalions into the West Bank and closed off Hebron and its surroundings. Netanyahu said last week he would revoke work permits for members of Tararia's family and has started the process of seeking approval to demolish the attacker's family's home, a known and controversial practice by Israeli authorities. Okay, so first of all, let's state the obvious. The family didn't do it. Don't do collective punishment. To bulldoze their house, I mean, what the fuck is that? Can you imagine that in the U.S.? Like, somebody commits a crime in the U.S., and then the government goes, okay, I will now get approval to bulldoze the house of the family of the person that committed the crime. That's insanity. That's collective punishment. They didn't do it. Now, let's state the obvious here. It is an absolute tragedy that this poor girl was killed. She's not the one who did occupation and expanded the settlement. She's 13 years old. You know what that means? Her family dragged her wherever the fuck they want to go because she's a child. You know, if you're a child, if I'm a child, if anybody's a child, and they say, we're going to up and go to a settlement on Palestinian territory, well, you're a kid. What are you going to do? Is take a moral stand when you don't know anything about the situation? You don't know anything about the history? So why the fuck would you blame this 13-year-old girl? Why would you attack a 13-year-old girl? She's a child. She's innocent. Of course that's barbaric and savage and stupid and toxic and immoral and unethical. It is insane and it is counterproductive. Why would you do that? I mean, the guy who did it is dead now. If he wasn't dead, you should prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. You know, I have no sympathy whatsoever for those actions. Let's also state the obvious in the other direction now, too. The right response is not to do more immoral and unethical actions and more land grabs and build more settlements. See, if you listen to what Palestinians say, they will tell you, oh, the reason why there are attacks against you is because you are occupying our land. You are doing illegal settlements under international law, under the United Nations. They say these are not allowed. What are you doing? You are stealing more and more of their land. So when you take people's land, they tend to react violently. That doesn't make it okay. It's still immoral and wrong and counterproductive, but that doesn't then justify your further actions of taking more land. Because murder happened doesn't make robbery right. The murder is wrong on its own merits, and the robbery is wrong on its own merits. So everybody gets more and more entrenched in their own side. Everybody gets more and more, willing to do violence and to do illegal, unnecessary actions. And the cycle of violence goes round and round and round. And what Netanyahu needs to understand is you're not preventing further incidents like this brutal murder when you decide we're going to build more settlements. You are making more of them happen. This is going to happen way more often now as a result of this. So let's be rational. We need to move towards a 2-state peace deal. We need to have clear, defined borders, and we need to stop the illegal occupation and continued settlement building. Now, everybody on the Palestinian side, you need to understand violence is counterproductive. That's not going to help you. It's going to make it worse because this is how the Israeli government reacts, and they will continue to react like this. So the violence is immoral and counterproductive, and it's going to push you further and further in the wrong direction. So peaceful, nonviolent resistance is the way to go. I know that's easier said than done, and I know it's harder to get attention when you do that, but we have the models that prove it. We have Gandhi, we have MLK, we have Nelson Mandela. So we know that works. So that's how you keep the moral high ground when you act like that and you don't do violence. So the violence is wrong to react that way on the Palestinian side, but obviously the continued expansion of illegal settlements is dead wrong on the Israeli side. So saner heads have to prevail here. We need to sit down and get a two-state deal with clear defined borders, full international recognition for both sides. But if we don't do that, we're just going further and further down an inevitable blow-up of the situation and more death and more destruction and more robbery, and no sane person wants to see that.